Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on this video, we need to continue our conversation about the fall shad migration. I did some videos last week on, that fall transition where the shad moved from the main lake, not all the shad, but a good majority of the shad in a lake. They moved from the main lake to the backs of these creeks that have fresh incoming water, especially once you start to get some of those cooler rains in September and into early October. And I got a really good question from Casey Saunders 2137. That's his name on here on YouTube. He is responding to the video I did called These are the 3 big mistakes anglers make in September. And he asks, or he states first, I think everyone clearly understands the bass follow shad. Any idea what drives the shad to move up in the creeks in the first place? Is it oxygen related, or the microorganisms that shad eat are in the creeks or shallower water? What is it? Great question. I've done a lot of research on this, and I even kind of searched around online afterwards, and there doesn't seem to be a super definitive reason why they're moving into the backs, other than the general consensus that it's food related. That's where the plankton is, the phytoplankton, the zooplankton. That's where the food source tends to be the best. And also, I think that in my experience, it always seems to be revolved around the first few cooler rains of the season, where the shad start moving into the backs of the creeks. So whether that just kind of flushes the food out to where it triggers that transition, that movement into the backs of creeks, I don't know. But I'm pretty positive, just observing the shad and what they're doing back there, that has to be primarily a food-based transition, where they're going into the backs to feed, and then so the bass follow the shad into the backs too. So there's probably oxygen related concerns as well. I mean, this time of year, the late part of the summer, the dog days of summer, where you don't have a whole lot of rain, the lowest flow of current of the season, if you're on a lake that has current, oxygen levels really do plummet in the deeper parts of a lake. So, in a lot of lakes that form a thermocline, those fish are just not going to have suitable, oxygen levels below a certain depth, below that thermocline, for them to actually survive. And that goes for shad too. So the shad generally will move shallower. And so I think that a big part of that migration, and a big factor to them moving into the backs of the creeks, is also oxygen levels becoming more suitable, because you've got more fresh water coming into the system, and that shallower water is more oxygen rich overall. So I'm not a biologist. I'm not I don't have a science background when it comes to fishing, but just going from my observations, which is a big part of why anglers are so in tune with what's going on in an ecosystem. And also just from what I've read, I really do think that the shad migration is kicked off by both of those things that you mentioned, both oxygen and food source. Regardless of what it is, we know that it is really important. And I'll disagree just a little bit. I don't think everybody knows about that shad migration, which is exactly why it's important to talk about it, is for beginning anglers that are just getting into the sport and looking to, improve their understanding of seasonal patterns. I think it's really important to understand that, on fisheries that have shad, threadfin shad in particular, during the fall, you know, and I include September in that fall equation. But during the month of September and into early October, shad do move into the backs of creeks, and that is one of the best locations to start catching bass this time of year. And it is a very tough time of year, but knowing where the bait is really does help you catch more fish. So anyways, thank you so much, Casey. I think that's a great question. And I wish I had a more concrete answer to that question, but I guess it really doesn't matter, right? If you know that they're going to be moving back there, it doesn't matter if it's because of oxygen or because of food or a combination of both of them. As long as we know it, we can adjust accordingly. So anyways, thank you for the question. That's my answer. If you guys have any other questions, drop a comment below. Other than that, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Enjoy your time on the water. The nights are starting to get cooler. The days are starting to get a little bit cooler. It's going to be a really, really good fall. So thank you guys. Trust the process.